Welcome back to it, guys, in our morning show. And we also say welcome back to the Tobago Heritage Festival. It is going back to our communities, back to our village, and it's back on in our morning show, as this morning we are joined by the acting CEO for the Tobago Festivals Commission Limited, Mrs. Janelle Drysdale-Job. Good morning and welcome to the Now Show.
Good morning, and thank you for having me. Good morning, Trinidad, and good morning, certainly, to Tobago.
Of
Thank you.
course. One of the most iconic festivals to touch the Tobago space is back in a big way, even though there had to be some small changes. Tell me a little bit as to why, because Beryl posed its own threat, but there were other things and challenges, I imagine, that you had to navigate. How are we looking for this year's festivals?
Right, so this year's festival, we originally had planned a whole month of activities. So we wanted to start it off the month on the 1st of January with our Thanksgiving service, which obviously was postponed due to Beryl's passing the island. So that was postponed. We eventually postponed all the other events that we had carded for this week because we know that there was another system coming behind Beryl. So for this week, we had planned on the 1st, the Thanksgiving service, which is now scheduled for today, 9 a.m. at the Roman Catholic Church in Bacalet, Tobago, Scarborough, Tobago. All right, so we're going to have this is more or less like our opening. We're giving God the praise and the thanks for another year of Heritage Festival, and that we want everything that we wish and want for this year's events to go smoothly, and that the patrons could enjoy themselves fully, immerse themselves and enjoy themselves in this month of activities. Mm-hmm. Other items carded for this week were the film symposium that has been moved to a date to be announced, and our Children's Heritage Extravaganza, which was carded for Wednesday, yesterday, that has now been moved to next week, Tuesday, from 1 p.m. at the Shore Park complex. That is where our little ones, the juniors, would showcase their style, all their productions that they can bring forward for our heritage. They are the birds of heritage, and they're going to be showcasing themselves, showing that we are not losing our heritage, but we are training to come forward.
I love that we have contingencies in place, not just in terms of moving some things around, but really investing in that next generation. A big part of the Heritage Festival carries a lot of history, some of which we saw in different forms in the past. So tell me a little bit as to how we're going to see perhaps the reinvention of things like the Tobago jig and the wedding, or even new additions that help to keep the heritage thriving.
Right. So yes, this year we have a few new items. We have the iconic ones as usual, but we have some new items. So one of the new items we're seeing back is courtship courts, and that happens before the old time wedding, the Tobago old time wedding, and we're going to be portraying what used to happen long ago before, and what you had to do to earn the parents' trust when you go to ask for that hand in marriage. So we see the coming back of the courtship codes. This year, a new event also is the Mount St. George We Tambourine story. That's one that we have not seen in a couple of years. Mm-hmm. And lastly, one of the newer ones that we haven't seen in a while is the Belmana riots, a reenactment of the riot from in the past. And that is going to be happening in Roxborough. It's a street procession, and they're going to be reenacting and stopping at different iconic spots to reenact what would have happened all those years ago. So those are the new items that we have this year. And as usual, we have the iconic Tobago Old Time Wedding, we have the Natural Treasures Day, and we also have the Old Time Carnival as usual going on.
Generally, these things are, like I said, meant to continue to tell the story of the history of Tobago, but in really revitalized ways. I understand, as you mentioned before, the children are actually getting in on the production this time around. Was that in any way difficult to do, or are we seeing people just really shining through with their natural talent?
Well, no, the children have always been interested. It's just that we're giving them their stage this time to do it. Some of the issues we had there is end of the year and the term promotion test. So those would have pushed us back a little bit. But the kids are excited. And I think Beryl gave us an opportunity because now they're more than excited to come forward and to portray. So even up to yesterday, we were having people more interested in joining the extravaganza. So the children really are stepping out, yes. They have 2 events on the calendar, and the second one is games we used to play. That's in Mason Hall. So they go back and see the games that the older ones used to play back then and take part in that. So they have those 2 areas to partake in. One of the other areas that we had planned that we're moving back, which is kind of carried to the children also, is the film symposium, where we're going to be looking at all these films from the years past, right? And letting them really see what would have happened. Those that are interested in filmmaking, we'll be having the acting CEO of TPAC, having a conversation with them, because they recently reenacted Turn of the Tide. So Turn of the Tide was one of the older productions from Tobago, and they would have just redone that and aired it, right? So he'll be there and speaking about how it was done, and we're showing the old and we're showing the new, to really have the kids engage in what their history was and where we can go with that.
And before we wrap up, there are a number of events that are actually free, but for the ones that we do need to have any sort of cost, is it a ticketing situation or we just purchase or pay at the venue?
Right, so we have a couple items that are paid. Very first one on the list is our Miss Personality, Heritage Personality, which is scheduled for next week, Thursday, July the 11th. Now that is going to be a showstopper, right? The ladies come out in their glory, and there's always a grand show that you can immerse yourself into. Because we don't have our opening ceremony this year, it's going to be kind of a combined show. So that show is going to be a grand one because we're putting much effort into making it as immersive as possible and carrying you back to those centuries ago that will just blow your mind away, right? So that is a paid show. It starts at 7 p.m. next week, Thursday, July the 11th at Shore Park, and it's $150. You can get tickets. We'll announce soon when the tickets will be available, but tickets will be available at our offices, Bobtail in Smithfield, and our GNV office, and at the box office at Shore Park. Definitely on the night, you'll have tickets on sale. The next item we have for sale will be our Tobago Heritage Calypso competition, and that's July 26th, and that's $100, also at Shore Park Complex, 7 p.m., where we have our Calypsonians really bringing back to light our historical Calypsos. Right? And lastly, the other paid show we have is our Folk Fiesta, which is scheduled for July 21st at Shore Park Complex and at $50 on entry.
Sounds good. I love the fact that more is free than not, but everything is available online, I understand. So that as much as we've had this conversation, folks can check you guys out on social media and a number of places to get the full calendar of events, even find out where the ticket information will be. And all I have to say is thank you very much for coming back. We are looking forward to Heritage Festival this year for sure. Hopefully, Tash and I will make it across.
Yes, please do. It will be a grand time for you both. Thank you
so much for joining us this morning. Of course, Ms. Janelle Drysdale-Job, the acting CEO for the Tobago Festivals Commission Limited, wishing you the best of luck as things are underway.
Okay, and can I ask one favor this morning?
Sure.
This morning is my daughter, my beautiful daughter, Ariel Job's birthday, her 12th birthday, and I would like to wish her a very happy and blessed birthday today, and that I love her.
Oh gosh. Happy birthday, Ariel! Quite a way to wrap things up. Wishing Ariel all the best and you as well as you get ready for Tobago Heritage Festival. Guys, we are taking a break and coming back to wrap things up here on the Now Morning Show. Stick around.